All right, so I guess we'll start with a little introduction.
Um,
So
I'm Alvo. Go ahead.
go carry
I'm
on.
Alvo. I'm Alvo, the drummer from All Taken. I also kind of manage social media, so if you've ever seen us on social media, you've probably talked to me. Um, I'm from a hard rock band from Los Angeles. Been playing for the last 5 years. This is the last project we've been we've been on for a while, and we're doing everything in our power to make this work.
Perfect. And who else have you got in the band?
So as of right now, we're a three-piece. Uh, it's there's Daniel. He's the lead guitarist and lead vocalist. Him and I started the band back in 2015. And there's David I, our bassist, and he joined the band shortly after.
Perfect. And how did it come about, All Taken?
So me and Daniel have me, Daniel, and David have been playing in several bands through high school, some of college, and being out of school, uh, and we kind of separated from the last band we were in, and this was like the first like attempt at doing something professional and making sure we don't cut any corners. We were gonna. It was supposed to be our last like real attempt at making it in the music industry, and we started. We wrote a little EP, recorded the EP, released our first single, and we felt like something was always off. We had some backing tracks we were queuing up through the computer, and we decided to go with the live bassist. We didn't know who at the time, and David had played in other bands with us, like I mentioned. So when we did our 1 year anniversary for our single release, um, we asked a bunch of our friends to come up on stage and play the song with us, just as like a homage to the song. Just make it lively, special. And David was the bassist that night, so he kind of stuck around for a little while. And Daniel and I had a conversation, and we're like, David should join, and that is where All Taken came from as of today.
Perfect. And is it what you do full time?
I wish it's a music project I do full time. Um, for the first 2 years, uh, I believe Daniel and I we were working together, and we quit our jobs and we focused on All Taken for a while. But of course, money runs out. We had about 6 months pay saved up. We worked through the 6 months, and then slowly but surely we both found jobs. I was working at a little drum shop, and Daniel started doing some work in his family business, and that slowly we both moved on to other professions just to pay for this endeavor, if I can call it that.
Yeah, I spoke to a lot of people that have to do that. It's a shame, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm fortunate enough to that I was working in music, and through the drum shop, I ended up working at a recording studio. I've been doing that for the last 2 years, so it's really nice to be interacting with other musicians, trying to help people get to where I'm going, and it's nice to like, pick little things from here and there from what other artists are doing. It really helps out, and it's a nice feeling. I was actually doing the studio thing full time until COVID hit. I'm actually helping out with family business too right now, but slowly but surely, as things open up and as COVID clears out, getting back to it. It's so nice being around musicians. I love it.
And how would you describe your music for people that haven't heard you before?
Okay, so without trying to sound too much like I'm tooting my own horn, like I said, we're a hard rock band. We try to pull influences from '90s grunge. Of course, I'm not gonna say we're as good, or we're ever going to be as good as any of those bands. But that's really where we pull our influence from. Nirvana, Alice in Chains. A lot of people say we sound like the Offspring. It's weird because the bands we choose to pick we choose to pull influences from um are the bands we end up not sounding like, which is incredible. You know, it's there's a saying, the best form of flattery is imitation. You know, or the best, I forget. I'm having a little brain fart right now, but basically along the lines of the all the creatives in the world have gotten where they are by pulling influence from another, and they're just really good at hiding it. I'm drawing a blank right now.
I know what you mean. I do. And if it
Yeah.
comes into my head, I'll try and remember.
Yes, yes.
So obviously before COVID and stuff, have you managed to perform live much?
Before COVID, we were playing out at least once a month. But there were months we did 2, 3 performances. We were very active before COVID, both on social media and live shows. But post COVID, we've had a couple of those offers to do the live shows in front of a camera and some microphones, but they always end up falling through, or the event ends up crumbling. I don't think we have that down just yet, but we miss playing live so much. We can't wait for things to open up.
And do you have a favorite live performance that you've done?
Yeah, so when we had just started the band, and I was really close to the promoter at Whiskey A Go Go down in West Hollywood, and we had played a couple shows. She really liked us. She put us on a couple bills, and then she calls me one day and she says, "I have an opportunity for you guys to open up for Alien Ant Farm." Not sure if you've heard of them. They're not super big.
Smooth Criminal as well.
Yeah, but they're pretty big, you know. So we opened up for them, and that night the whiskey was at capacity, which was around between 500 and 600 is what they say online. I don't know. They told us that they're at capacity. Looked it up online. It says around 500 or 600 people. So that was an incredible opportunity.
Amazing. And well, if you had the chance to perform with anyone, who would it be?
I'm a big fan of the Foo Fighters. I feel like I pull a lot of my influence from the Foo Fighters. Dave Grohl, just as a songwriter, as a drummer, as a guitarist, as a frontman, he's just all around great guy. Someone I look up to, and if I had the opportunity to play alongside them, I would be ecstatic. I would consider myself like I made it somehow, somewhere. I made it, you know, to some benchmark.
Yeah, that would be cool. I used to live
Yeah.
in Brighton, and they did it was a secret gig just down from me. It was 600 people in this little tiny venue. We found out the next day on the radio.
So let me tell you a secret about that. I go to this event called Bottle Rock. It's in Napa, California. Every year we go to watch, and it's like a wine and rock music festival. It's kind of in the wine country. And I was having lunch, and I was talking about the Foo Fighters, and the organizer of the event was sitting there having lunch next to us. They're kind of like long picnic tables, and he overhears me talking about them and how passionate I am talking about them. We were going to see them the third night of Bottle Rock that year, and he gives me some inside information. He's like, anytime they're playing a big show, he's like, look around that area within a 15-mile radius, and if you see a band called the Drunken Bastards playing, that's them doing a practice run. It's a secret show, and you get to see them for like $15.
Whoa.
So I've been looking every time I've seen them a couple times, but I know that this has nothing to do with my band, but that's just a little piece of insight that I'd like to pass around. If you ever get lucky, you get lucky. You know, I've been looking, I haven't found it yet, but
I'll keep my eye out for that.
yeah, post COVID, hopefully, you know.
Fingers crossed. So back to your band. Out of all the songs of All Taken, which is your favorite and why?
My personal favorite has to be "Smells Like Mistakes." It's the first single we released that we got a chance to work with Paul Figueroa. He works with Alice in Chains, Slipknot, you know, all the bands we look up to. Um, but basically that I was asleep one night, I was dreaming, I woke up and I wrote 3 pages on like blank paper with a Sharpie. I was struggling to write down what was in my brain, and I knew it was gonna be something. And I took it to Daniel the next day. We talked about it back and forth. We sat on it for about 3 months, and I'm like, I know this is something. I would work on it every chance I got, and we ended up summing up what I had written down to the lyrics of "Smells Like Mistakes," and the fact that we got to work with a great producer like Paul Figueroa on that just made the song that much better. And I think it's one of my favorite songs to play. It's one of my favorite songs to hear, and just the whole process was very interesting and different than every other song we've written.
Perfect. I actually listened to that one earlier. I was doing my
That's
research.
very cool. Yeah. Also, the album art is very cool on that.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
do. I listened to all the ones that were there. I think I had it on autoplay, so.
Yeah. Okay, let me ask you a question. What was your favorite song? I like to know.
Well, I don't know if it's because it's the first one, but it's the latest one. Is it Doubt? I think it's called.
Yeah,
It's,
that's also with Paul Figueroa.
yeah,
Yeah.
I heard that. Was it last week when I
Hmm.
messaged you?
Right, on Twitter.
And maybe when you hear something for the first time, that's usually the one that sticks with you. So I
Yeah,
would have to say that it's good. It's really
very
good.
nice.
And I can definitely hear the 90s influences. Maybe that's why I
Very
like it,
nice.
you know?
I'm happy to hear that. I'm happy they're actually coming through.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So we touched on this briefly earlier, but COVID, how's it affected you and the band?
Um, we had a lot of things planned. We had a lot of shows planned, and we were getting to a point where we were on a roll and the good shows were coming through, and we were finally at a point where we could pick and choose the shows we wanted to play, and we weren't just playing whatever. So we had a couple of those locked in that immediately got canceled on the first wave. We had planned to release 5 songs this year. That didn't happen because we were gonna record them as we went. It's a little expensive to record, so that didn't happen. Um, we went from a full live centric band to kind of fully internet centric. You know, we're trying to do everything on social media now. We're trying to figure out how we can do these um, pre-recorded shows on online. It was really really discouraging for a while because you work your whole life to get to this place, and then one morning you wake up and it's like, nope, everything you worked for is gone. We actually didn't play for like 3 months in the beginning. We were all quarantining, and then slowly but surely we started up, and I don't. I'm a little afraid. I think where we're at in Los Angeles, we may or may not have another lockdown. So I've prepared for the worst. Um, we used to have a studio we would rent out, but I've outfitted my garage with everything it takes to practice and perform hopefully, and definitely record. You know, so if we do go into lockdown again, we might lock down together and just try to crank out as much content as we can. Um, I'm just trying to plan for the future so that we have something to release. I have noticed though, through COVID, especially with the lack of live shows, I feel like people are streaming more, people are watching YouTube videos more. So we're just trying to find a way to create content to make sure that, you know, the fire that is all taken stays burning.
Yeah, that was my next question actually. Do you think a lot of bands have gone online? I've noticed them doing like live streaming gigs on a weekend and stuff like that. Do you think that might be the future of music?
I hope not. I hope not. There's something to be said about getting on a stage, no matter how small. I've played on a stage that's 3 inches off the ground before, but there's something that the audience gives you. There's this reaction, there's a vibe. Every night, every room, every person who's there makes that show that much different and that much more special. You know, some nights are bad. Don't get me wrong. You make mistakes, or you know, the crowd's just not reacting properly. You don't get the turnout you're expecting, but there's still like there's something to be said about those nights. You know, my mentor at the time when I was taking drum lessons, he told me playing a show is like having 10 practices. You know, you're under pressure. That's when you deliver, and you just become that much better as a musician. You can be an amazing drummer, an amazing guitarist. You can be an amazing band in your bedroom, but if you don't go out and play in front of people, you may never know if you're actually good. You know, so um, I I hope that we do find a way to play through COVID online, but I hope that it's temporary. Every band was on Twitter, was on Instagram, on Facebook before, but I feel like the gears have shifted a little bit and they're thinking on how they can survive. And I hope this is just like a survivalistic um, approach to what being a musician is like. I hope this doesn't stick around. Maybe a hybrid between what we had and what's going on now. I understand people are lazy. They don't want to leave their house. Um, I used to joke about how if a guy buys his girlfriend a ticket to come to our show, and they come out to our show and they have a couple of drinks and they drive and they pay for parking or for Uber, they're spending at least $120 US, you know, and right now you pay $15, you can sit around with all your friends and watch a band you like. Hell, why not? Like you're in your living room in your underwear watching a band, you know, like hell yeah, that's awesome. But there's also, I don't know, I feel like there's a whole different experience going to the
Yeah,
show,
I
like a
I
live
don't
show.
I don't think it's the same. I miss the live performances.
Of
It's just a
course.
different atmosphere. And I think
Yeah,
bands put in more passion when they're live because they can see the people in front of them. It's much more interactive.
I feel like everyone feeds into that energy. There's an energy about a live show. You walk into the room and it's loud, and you know the band playing before the band you're trying to go see is screeching loud, you know, and like you see your friends in the crowd, you have a beer, you have a drink, and you're like, all right, I'm ready. You know, for 30 minutes, for 45 minutes, you're immersed in this band who's put everything they have in the last 3 months into this 30 minutes, and it's more immersive. You know, now you can pause, you can go to the restroom, come back, order a pizza, have a snack at home. It's not the same.
No, I agree.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. I am asking everyone this question.
Okay.
Obviously, with lockdown, I don't know, have you had a full lockdown in Los Angeles?
Yeah. Um, what do you mean by full lockdown?
See, like, we're in Wales in the UK, and
Hmm.
well, we've just come out of one when all non-essential shops are shut. You only leave your house for exercise, work from home, that kind of thing.
Yeah, so for the first 2 months, definitely we were on full lockdown. Like only grocery stores, like pharmacies, stuff like that were open. Um, right now things are starting to slowly open back up, and it's nice to go out, but it's still not the same. You know, like you're sitting outside in a tent eating your pasta or your pizza or whatever. Um, Bars are outside now. You know that you're allowed to drink. Well, in LA at least, you can't walk around with alcohol outside. So that's weird. You know, they close off a parking lot and like you can drink in the parking lot. Um, but yeah, we definitely we were no going out. You work from home. Even people weren't exercising outside either. Slowly but surely, you know, everything opened up. Still, there's still some things closed, but yeah. But
Well,
you're sorry. I feel like I cut your question short.
that's all right. Well, obviously that's had an impact on people's mental health, not being able to go out. And
Yeah.
I was wondering if you had any advice for people struggling at the moment.
Um. Here's what I'd say. I'm working the family business right now. Uh, I'm not always alone. You know, I drive to work with my dad, or um, you know, I'm helping out, and it's kind of a hands-on job. We're repairing machinery, so uh, sometimes I feel like I don't know. I'm a very creative person, and if I don't have my output, um, I go crazy. But I have two words of advice that help me. Find a way to be creative, no matter what it is you want to do. Draw, sketch, sing, um, whatever. The world is yours. We have the internet in front at our fingertips. Find a way to express yourself. You're mad, draw in black. You know, you're angry, draw in red. You're feeling calm, draw in blue. I don't just find a way to express yourself that makes you feel like yourself. That that just it gives you an attachment to the world that like no matter where you are, you can draw, you can write, you can read, you can find a way that you can be creative. And two, a day where I don't listen to music, I go crazy. And that's why I brought up I'm driving with my dad, or you know, hands-on working, because some days I don't get to listen to music and I come home and I'm like, I want to listen to this song from this album. And you know, it takes me away, just like you would read a book and you're in another world, or you would watch a movie and you see all these characters. Music is very immersive. There's it might be a song about I don't know, the grass is green, but you know, everyone interprets it in a different way. And when you're feeling a certain way, you take words and you make them what you want it to be almost. There's a song by Rise Against. It's called "Make It Stop." I believe it's advocating for anti-bullying and like the LGBTQ community. Um, but there's a line in there. It's always darkest just before the dawn. So stay awake with me. Let's prove them wrong. And you know, I wasn't being bullied at the time, and I didn't have the problems that they were singing about in the song. But just that line resonated with me, and I can say that right now. You know, with COVID, if it's bad, you know, if you're like this is terrible, you know, just wait a little bit and everything's gonna open up. The sun's gonna shine again. You're gonna be able to go outside. You're gonna be able to have fun. You're gonna be able to see your friends. You're gonna be able to do things that make you you, and hopefully regain your mental and emotional strength. But if you listen to any of our songs, a lot of them are about what the pains and the emotional distress any musician goes through, especially that first 5 song EP. Um, we went from a band where we weren't sure where it was going to something where we're like, these are our strides. We're taking steps in the right direction. We're um, you know, and if you read into the subtext, you listen to it, you read between the lines with this in mind, you'll definitely hear it. They're all cautionary tales. They're all um, be careful what you do. And you know, sometimes this might sound bad, but I listen to our music. You know, like I don't know. Some people make fun of me for it, Like I wear my band's merch. I listen to our music. If I didn't want to listen to it, if I didn't want to wear my band's merch, why is the person in front of me gonna do it? You know, and that's what I mean. It just get immersed in something. Take your mind off of whatever's going on. For that 5 minutes you're listening to your favorite song, I promise you, you'll come out with a better outlook on the world. No matter how sad the song, how happy the song, you'll just you'll come out and experience the world in a different way.
I think that's the best advice I've had doing this.
I hope so. I hope so. I take this very seriously. I always have. I always will. It was hard for me to start playing drums just because of my living situation and the nature of drums being loud and big, having a place to put them. You know, so once I started playing, I I, I don't know. I might sound like a fake philosopher or whatever, but it all ties into each other for me. You know, I love all of it. I love every minute of it, even when it sucks, even when I'm angry, even when I can't figure out what to do next. You know, which is what a lot of this lockdown has been like. But look, we found each other on Twitter. You asked me if I want to do an interview, and we're here. I'm helping you. You're helping me, and you know, hopefully one person hears about the band and listens to our music, likes what we're doing. That's why we do this, and you know, and that's why people listen to music. I don't know. There's always a song to be sung, and hopefully, we're singing someone's song.
Oh, I love it. And okay, so all being well, COVID wise, what are your plans for the future?
So we've filmed the music video before COVID, but haven't been able to complete it due to COVID and just the people we're working with. So that's coming in the very near future. I want to say in the next month or two. We just started working on it again. We will be in the studio this weekend. We found the studio who's COVID friendly. You got to be in there with masks or whatever, social distancing, everything, making sure we wash our hands. But we will be recording a song and releasing a song very soon. Of course, we're not going to get to our 5 song goal for the year, but it's okay. As long as as long as we're able to put something out there and you know show people we're relevant. But we're gonna try to do a couple online shows, definitely. We're just trying to find one that doesn't fall through and where the streaming service is reliable, and just expect a whole lot of content coming your way after the new year. I think we're gonna slowly get things back up until the new year, and we're trying to backlog a lot of recording songs, making videos, just so we have stuff to put up and be relevant and show people we're still doing this. You know, COVID's not going to get us down.
Good to hear. And then before we part ways, is there any messages you have for our viewers?
Wear a damn mask. It's a piece of cloth. It'll help us all get out of this sooner. If we weren't doing this virtually, I'd be wearing one for sure. I know bands are supposed to be anarchists or whatever. Follow the rules, and then you can be a rebel as much as you want. Let's kick this virus out of here. It's for the good of everyone. Thank you so much for your time.
It's not a problem. Before you leave or before we go, where can people find you?
We are on all the streaming services, mostly Spotify, Apple Music. That's where you'll find the most recent stuff. We are on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Our handle for Instagram is at alltakenband. No, sorry, excuse me. Our handle for Instagram is at alltaken_band. Likewise for Twitter. And as long as you search All Taken on Apple Music or Spotify or your favorite music streaming services, we usually tend to come up pretty high on the list. If not, you can check out our latest song, Doubt. So just writing All Taken Doubt. There's not another doubt out there by a band called All Taken. So you'll find it for sure.
But
Um,
I'll put all the links in the description anyway, just in case.
definitely. If you do reach, if you are trying to find us, reach out, say hello. We'd love to know that you heard the podcast.
Fabulous.
Thank you.
And it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you for taking the time to talk to us today.
Likewise. Thank you.
All right. Take care.